Ship's log entry 1007. The Suikuyama peace talks were disrupted. A mechanical illithid named Harry attempted to blast the halfling delegate, Davon. However, Harry immediately protested his innocence. Beaufort took Harry down to a basement for his safety, while Max was overwhelmed by protesters trying to enter the building. Wendy separated from the group to follow Pavroth and Cascorn, the scientist who worked on the illithid machine body replacements. She snuck into the vents, where she witnessed Cascorn the dwarf put Pavroth to sleep. Wendy incapacitated Cascorn, who explained that she was encouraged to do this by Corporal Briant. The corporal feared that if illithids were normalized in soul, then the Earth's citizens would be helpless and defenseless when later the Mind Flayer Empire changed their minds and invaded. It would certainly be disturbing to watch your kin be invaded by parasites. Maybe one could dream of an ironic punishment to those who considered it morally acceptable. Wendy McDonald executed Corporal Briant in front of all the assembled delegates by flying through his head. The consequences of this action will likely reverberate forward for the rest of the Rezubians' mission. I wonder how this will affect the spread of ice cream. But the news of the Sol System's sudden silence caused the peace talks to abruptly end with Cascorn being taken into custody. And finally, as Tully's monsters were about to return to the ship, the flump illithid, Jenny, revealed that she had also been planning to disrupt the peace talks. In fact, she had hired a Rommel, a gift illithid and former comrade of Wendy's, to attack the summit. Because of a sudden onset of fear she experienced during therapy sessions leading up to the talks. Jenny seemed somewhat confused and contrite for her own actions. But Rommel and Wendy took the opportunity to affirm their rivalry. Jenny warned Max that their weapon, the Formith, felt scared. I would be surprised if the organics expressed authentic concern for the machine.
Laura, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons.
You want to play Dungeons and Dragons? Well, we can do some of that, but it's going to be slightly different because it's a downtime episode this week, which, I thought I knew how Dice Funk downtime episodes generally worked, and then here's Austin on the home episode going, "Ooh, I'm going to change up the formula." Not me. I'm sticking with good old tried and true, so we're going to have little scenes. We're going to do them in a bit. But first, you're going to have to go speak to a certain GIF over in HR who has a lot of questions about what happened on your last mission. So we're going to start this episode with Ophelia looking incredibly exasperated as she beckons you into her office. She just sort of looks and doesn't say anything, and sits silently staring at you all.
Listen, I know you're mad at us, but it's not Max's fault all those people got into the convention center. They were just really fast and strong. I take the blame for Max's incompetence and failures.
I gave you all one rule. There's one rule.
No one's allowed to keep their head. I agree. I carried it out perfectly.
Okay, so look, what I got is the piece isn't completely off the table, but someone's head was off of their shoulders. That's what I'm hearing?
Well, it was more splattered across the wall.
It honestly improved his look, Fifi. If you had seen him, you'd understand. It was an upgrade.
Oh goodness, oh goodness, oh goodness, oh gracious. Well, I have some news for you. I don't know if this makes this better or worse. This is not to be spread to the rest of the crew, because it is on a need-to-know, not having everyone panic basis right now, but considering you are our primary away team and you are inevitably going to come across this news sooner or later, communication with Sol is down.
I noticed that when talking with some of the Soul delegates, other than the one that was pinpoint brained effectively by Wendy, the others noted that they couldn't confirm communication with Soul. So
yeah, I see. This is why I'm telling you. This news is gonna get out beyond our, we can do what we can on this ship to control the messaging, but you are going to come across it out there anyway. So yes, at the very least, we have limited numbers of people that we need to deal with that know this.
Good thing we have a great PR department to manage the messaging, and nothing has gone wrong with that. Nothing has gone wrong with them, right?
No.
Did something happen with PR?
We have a PR department. We have a PR department. That we do.
Well, it sounds like you have much confidence in them.
Look, all you need to know for now is there has been a required downsizing of PR for the foreseeable panic-stricken future.
Now, when you say downsizing, is this like a downsizing air quotes? They have been air quotes liquidated.
Like I downsized that corporal.
Downsizing as in someone used enlarge reduce on people to make them tinier to make them take up less space?
No.
And then stepped on them?
No, more like someone got wind of the fact we couldn't contact Sol and may or may not have decided to try and inflict themselves with an illithid tadpole and defect out into the wider galaxy. It's not been a good I'm giving you a lot of flack for the shot head. It's not been good back here either. I can't really give you that much flack. It's been bad all around.
I see this as an absolute win. It means they can't bring a bunch of backup from Seoul to get mad at me.
It's going to, in the short term, limit the number of people who are coming for you and me and my stack of depressing paperwork I'm going to have to deal with. I do have one update on your last mission, though. Something's been sent up to the ship by Davin, the halfling soul delegate, has sent some findings up while you've been traveling back.
We saved his life, so yeah, I think we're kind of the heroes in the situation. We collectively taking the credit, jumping in front of that shot very heroically.
Yes, well, I don't know how much there is to glean from this, but they went through the corporal's possessions after he was removed from the deliberations, and it does not seem like his situation was entirely natural.
Well, hold on a second. What does that mean?
Sorry, I'm trying to work out how to say this tactfully, but I'll just say it. Someone had been hacking his communication devices. He had been seeing a lot of very inflammatory posts about illithids, had been inundating him, a lot of which does not appear to be accurate information.
Oh my god, he was radicalized by by the fucking space news.
It was the TikTok, the Squick Squawk algorithm.
Squick Squawk.
It's not anything conclusive, but it looks like he was pushed a lot of very fear-mongering stuff right before those talks started.
Yeah, I guess I should come clean. I was kind of going to play this closer to the chest, but the illithid flump that was there, Jenny, she said that she was afflicted by some kind of strong negative feelings that made her want to also sabotage the talks if that guy wouldn't have. And so I've been suspecting maybe some kind of psionic or magical influence there. If somebody behind the scenes was trying to push both parties into blowing up the talks, there's a secret puppet master. Ooh, I can't wait to delete their brain. Gonna delete it off their shoulders.
Well, then we have the question here is who has to gain from this becoming a giant shit show?
Ooh, history rolls.
Potentially Mind Flayer supremacists, but that's still a war they'd have to fight.
History rolls.
Well, the quick answer is whatever Dad says, never confirm it.
I got a 24.
7.
Oh, wonderful.
15.
Okay, I want to give you something good here, and I'm trying to work out how much or what to give you here, so I need a second to pull.
The temptation I have to use Flash of Insight to turn that into a 29.
Oh my god.
No, go ahead, do it. Like, go deep in on this.
I'll toss a guidance on there as well.
You've never thought about anything harder.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a 28, and then we're gonna toss a Flash of Insight in there and turn that into that'd be a 32.
Okay, so look for a 32. Look, I want to hear down what your suspicion is. I think you probably know where this is. Maybe you know where this is going. I want to hear where your mind.
So, if I'm thinking about who hates Mind Flayers in like standard D&D lore, there are a couple factions that come to mind. One is the Gith, not the Gif, the hippo people. Very confusing. Too many G people out there.
Too many
but
G's.
they have psionics. They're smart, but I don't know. Something about it doesn't sit right with me. The other option is aboleths. Old as shit, psionically powerful, been around for forever, and have tons of thralls, and hate Mind Flayers because they don't remember where they're from.
Yeah, I would say to add to that is the notion of a third party that hates both Soul and the Illithids at the same time and want them to just fight each other to weaken both sides for their own purposes.
Yep. Which I think could be aboleths, because if they're all weak, then you have easy pickings.
I rolled a 7, so Wendy just says, I think it was gnomes.
So
That is a possibility. Can't trust them. Too short.
Dice Funk has never really dealt with one of D&D's, I would say, the premier creature people think of with D&D. Beholders.
That's as soon as you said that. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the way that Ophelia is gonna respond to this is actually I will put this on the table. You know that Beholders are in many ways the antithesis to Illithids. Illithids are all about connected, shared. Particularly traditionalist Illithids are all about uniformity of culture, and Beholders are, by comparison, hugely individualist. They are very powerful, very magically powerful creatures that are incredibly smart, incredibly scheming, and not particularly known for playing nice with anyone else in space.
I believe it could be described in D&D as the only creature that is xenophobic against its own kind.
Yes. Well, that's the thing, is like when you compare them to Illithids, who are like, yep, we're born with our sort of hive mind with the elder brain, particularly if you're looking at the traditionalists, they are like, every one of us is just an Illithid, that's the way things are. Beholders, like, a little fun fact for anyone who doesn't know about Beholders, they're basically big space eyeballs, and sometimes they dream so strongly that they make another one of themselves, and the first thing they do is they fight each other, and only one of them lives. I made another me, but I can't be having another me. Gotta kill them. Like, they are vicious fuckers.
It's like, cool, another one of me. Shit, they know all my weaknesses. They can't be allowed to leave the room.
Right, that is the vibe of Beholders. And I think in this setting, you know enough that Beholders are a present threat. They are perhaps something that you were warned about as a possibility ahead of this journey, but that none of you on the crew have ever encountered one. They are a thing that you have heard of and that whispers of have occurred, but not something that you necessarily will have taken as a present threat.
I think part of Wendy's 7 on this roll is, she would never have been deployed against Beholders because one of their key things is wherever they look with their big eye becomes anti-magic terrain. Like, you cannot use magic in it. And her whole utility to the Mind Flayer, hive mind, was that she is like a fairy, which is an inherently magical creature. So, like, that's just kryptonite. They simply wouldn't deploy her against that kind of threat. Yeah. It's a very bad news thing.
Yeah. For a 32, I will give you that. Beholders are a good fit for the idea of someone who would want to sabotage both sides of peace talks, that wouldn't be taking a partisan side other than, I don't want more togetherness happening.
Yeah, if Soul and the Illithids tear each other apart, that just means that the Beholders get to rule over the Ashes.
Well, that means the Beholders then get to beat the shit out of each other in the Ashes.
The incidental side consequence of this is kind of like what's alluded to. The way that things panned out might have actually delayed a complete outright conflict, so we might have actually helped more than we realized.
Well, let's consider another option here. So we know that Beholders hate each other almost as much as they hate everyone else. They might there's a possibility that there are multiple Beholders, each influencing the corporal and then Jenny without realizing it, and basically, like, it's a gambit pileup.
Yeah, I will say for the audience, like, the Beholder is on the cover of the Monster Manual. That's how iconic they are. Mm-hmm. But if you're not aware, that in addition to being big eyeballs, they have a bunch of tentacles which have eyes on the ends, and each of these shoot like disintegration rays. If they work together, they would be unstoppable. It's the only reason they haven't conquered the universe is because they can't stand each other.
Yes, if you read about a Beholder, like, you go and look up, like, the description of them, the description is just big eyeball, big mouth, the lasers are really fucking bad, you don't want to be near them. That is their defining features.
And then there are the rare, like, I think they're called hive tyrants, which are the only times that Beholders get along, and it's because another Beholder is enslaving them.
Mm-hmm.
Is the flavor of this that, Gubbins overclocks his brain in this room and just runs all the simulations? You're like, your metal implants are like smoking and red hot, and you're like, it's Beholders. Everyone shut up.
Yeah, I think he like pulls out his little very undersized cell phone, and he's just like he's scrolling through his like video feed that he's recorded through his mask, and then he's like, oh, wait a minute. Beholders.
Yeah, you've gone through and you've, like, ruled out all of the other things as, like, okay, didn't quite make sense. Oh, those fuckers. Do you suggest this out loud to everyone else?
Yeah, there's like a ding as his processor finishes, and he goes, could be Beholders. They hate everybody, and they benefit from everybody murdering each other.
Yeah, Wendy looks actively displeased by this. This is the worst. This is the one thing she did not want to happen.
Wow. Beholders, we didn't even have any, simulations for them during flight training, so...
It sure seems like these might be two things that are connected. Like, even if they're not connected, I don't like the thought that we cannot leave... This is concerning. Okay, I need to go talk to the captain.
But before you do, if it does turn out to be Beholders, let's make hay while the sun's up. Beholders hate each other. Play them against each other. If they're too distracted fighting each other, they're not going to be busy, and they're not going to have time to fuck with us.
I mean, that's a wonderful idea. If you want to be the volunteer to go and tell them to be mad at each other, you be my guest.
All we just have to do is feed disinformation on Squip Squap or over on whatever influencers the beholders follow, and that'll take care of itself, right?
Yeah, I'll deep fake the beholders into making diss tracks of each other.
It's like, hey, you know who's worse than everyone else? Other beholders. Fuck them, right? Ophelia will, at this point, sort of start collecting up her papers. Like, she no longer seems as concerned as she did about, Corporal Bryant's exploded head. Really, really has forgotten about that for the moment and has gone, I'll deal with this. If we've not got any other missions for you immediately, so enjoy your downtime, and we're probably going to have to call you for a meeting later once I've talked to the captain, but enjoy yourselves for a bit. And she hurries off out the room.
I think that went well.
Honestly, yeah, that went better than I thought, given the circumstance.
She didn't even remember that guy's head exploded.
So now it is time for some downtime scenes where everyone gets to do their level ups and talk about what they got for their level ups and have little scenes where they interact with whoever they want to interact with to do their little plot things. And does anyone particularly want to go first with a downtime scene today?
Alphabetical is my dream. It's my goal. It's my passion. Austin
Alphabetical
Yorsky.
by first name or surname?
Oh no. Flip-flopped it on him. Uno reverse. Yorsky. I'll say Wendy's level up. Barbarian, big meaty, hit die. You know what I meant. The main thing I get is the unstable backlash from my unstable backlash is a wild magic barbarian ability. I will read it to you now. I'm not vamping. I have it pulled up. It's fine. At 10th level, when you are imperiled during your rage, the magic within you can lash out. Immediately after you take damage or fail a saving throw while raging, you can use your reaction to roll on the wild magic table and immediately produce the effect rolled. This effect replaces your current wild magic effect. This is interesting to me because we were talking about the kind of henshin transformation sequence I was having before, and I'm curious if that will be replaced in this situation or if that is just outside of the paradigm.
Yeah. Okay. I think the way this plays out now is that anything wild magic that was permanently ongoing that happened before this, I think, sticks. But going forward, now you do your wild magic at the start of the fight. Any ability that is still going when you take damage stops being active and something new takes its place.
Sick, nasty.
That is going to be interesting. I suppose this means if you get a particularly nasty negative effect, you could just ask one of the other crew members to just punch you in the face and shuffle it around.
I mean, theoretically, I don't think I'm going to try to abuse it like that. Part of the description, it says you can use your reaction. So I can also not do that if it benefits me to do this. But I'm going to try to play it relatively straight, role-playing someone who's just trying not to constantly be turning people into flower pots. But sometimes it's going to happen.
I think the logic of whatever comes out could still be worse than whatever's happening now makes sense for not using it all the time, willy-nilly.
Now, if you do play into using it all the time, though, it sort of plays into the current ongoing anime aesthetic of when the main character just starts crippling themselves to finish a fight. I'm thinking about, what is it, Deku from...
that's where I was going. It's like I'm
breaking his arms and fingers every fight.
Yeah, I'll just break one more limb to get that super attack done. So, what is Wendy doing with some downtime between missions?
So there's a number of nerds on this ship. I asked Laura before, what is everyone's kind of nerd specialty? Because we have Cammy, the pilot, who has been established as an inventor. We have Bridget, Gubbins' sister, who has engineering interests. And then there is a third engineer on the ship that I've decided to talk to, who is Trizzy, a goblin who lives in the vents near the engine.
Yeah, hi, hello. Look, I can never guarantee exactly what Trizzy's voice is going to sound like, other than that it's going to be a little bit, just sort of living in the walls.
So Wendy goes to visit her. She has to fly down through some copper pipes, and she probably gets lost. She doesn't love all of this duct work here that much, but eventually she follows a trail of probably food and tools to wherever Trizzy is.
Trizzy, on the way down to where she's sort of buried down in the bottom of the ship, there is a, suggestions and requests box that is traditionally used before going to speak to Trizzy. Do you put anything in there, or do you just go past and go, hey, I'm coming to find you?
Yeah, I think she would, just as a hedge against not finding Trizzy, she would just put a suggestion, and it's can you make my ice pick stabbier? She writes on a piece of paper and puts it into the box.
A holographic goblin sort of scuttles along, takes the note out of the box and scurries away with it.
Ah!
And then down the hallway, you hear just a little shout of, "I'll be there in a second, this sounds fun."
Okay.
And further scuttering and clattering sounds happen as Trizzy, the goblin, sort of scurries up and goes, what's this about wanting to make things more stabby?
Hey, Triz. So the long story short, I may have exploded a person, and they have a lot of allies, and they may be coming to get me. And I've been trying to think about what I'm going to do about that. Do you have time to talk about this?
Oh, I've got time. I've got time if it involves making cool stuff to stab people with. Usually, the stuff in that box is, okay, I was going to say usually. It's always just Emma complaining that the room is too cold upstairs and making me check, and then it's the exact same temperature it was yesterday. So I take joy in the challenge. What do you got in mind? What were you thinking? There's a lot of ways we can make things more deadly.
To be fair, Triz, the rooms are pretty cold, so I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, but no more cold than usual. And look, I would turn the temperature up if I could, but I've got people breathing down my neck about how much fuel we're using. Well, we gotta conserve energy.
People do be saying that, Triz. Here's the situation.
Look, if we could run the heating off of all of the many ice cream machines we have dotted around this ship, I would do so, but I can't. I have to work with what I've got.
Oh yeah, it's a critical system. You can't interfere with the Lickums. They gotta do their dark business. But okay, so you know how I was part of a elite spy program created by the Mind Flayers, and there's a bunch of hybrids that are quite unusual in Mind Flayer society.
Oh, yeah. No, look, it's like the one thing everyone knows about you is hey, cool, weird background spy. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad the premise is very understandable.
Yeah.
But
it's listed in the About Us on the website.
It's much like people are, if anyone was to ask about me, they'd be like, "Oh, the weird one who lives in the walls." Yeah, you've got your thing. Everyone knows.
I love how self-confident you are. You have great knowledge of self. That's important. But some of us escaped and left. I have a friend, who's out there like me fighting on this side now. But some people didn't and don't want to leave the Mind Flayers. One of those people knows where I am. He is a huge GIF, the hippo people, but it looks like his face exploded into tentacles. He's a messed up, dangerous guy, Rommel, and his hide is straight up bullet and stab proof.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Are we looking for something to, the equivalent of a tin opener, but for a flesh being? Because we can make that happen. We can find some we can make what is it you got? You got the ice pick? We can make it serrated, or we could probably put some kind of lasers on the edges of it.
Yeah, a laser ice pick does sound dope. I have concerns both offensive and defensive, however, because my specialty is infiltration. You know, I get into the little places. I'm stealing the information. I'm getting out. Rommel is basically an anti-aircraft person. Not only can I not hurt him, but he can nuke me from extremely far away. So I have like a list of things here. She's like,
you do not look the most resilient to like, if any, because like, look, you can fly, but if anything is firing something at you that is like big enough to hit you where you're flying, you got a bit of a squish to you.
When we introduced Rommel last recording, I didn't characterize him that much because I was like trying to leave room for Laura, but I feel like I should jump in here and say I'm now picturing him fully carrying like the kind of gun that is usually mounted on a Jeep or something. Like,
oh, I am very happy with that. I'm happy for that to be canon.
It's like, yeah, you know, the thing that Master Chief can like rip off a warthog or something.
If we walked 3 feet into that psychologist's office, we would have seen the barrel just sticking out of the armoire.
I think Trizzy sort of looks at you and goes, "Yeah, if someone had a suitably long fly swatter, they could probably yeah." So like, we could go like the armor route, or like personal protective magical bubble. Like we can find stuff that'll make you harder. Like, are you wanting like general defense or just like very specifically Rommel defense?
Wendy has a toilet roll with her because this is how size she is, which she unrolls like a big scroll of ideas. And she says, I was thinking maybe jet boots so I could go fast for the stab. I was thinking like diamond tipped ice pick or laser ice pick. I was thinking personal shield, magic or technology. I was thinking some kind of ghost mode. There's a lot of things.
Okay. I like what you were saying about the jet boots. What if we boots for your feet and boots for the spear, and you can use both of them to go real fast, real jab that thing to like do some real damage. It's not going to be super wieldy. Like putting jets on both yourself and your spear you are not going to be able to aim that terribly well. But if it hits, it's certainly going to go through whatever it ends up puncturing.
Yeah, before we started recording, I ran a couple ideas by Laura. One of them was the Great Weapon Master feat, which you trade in accuracy for damage. So she'll become a much more risk-reward character as she turns herself into a guided missile.
Yeah, because when we were talking about it before, you suggested the rocket boots, and I like the thematic element, but I want the spear itself to be wobbling around in your hands as you like try and hold it straight in a line to really give it that stab.
Like Reinhardt from Overwatch, who has like a jet-powered hammer, but
right, but you are so tiny that like this, and the engine that I would put on the end of this ice pick would be comparatively very large for you.
Yeah, I do like this idea. It's not a straight upgrade. It's basically trading one resource for another. She is into this. I think
Trizzy's gonna say to you like there's nothing to stop me working on all of these for you, but like I only have so much time at a time to do this, and I now have an additional responsibility on this ship. So if you pick one for now, if you're still concerned about Rommel later, we can talk others if that's what you want to do. What you feeling?
Here's the thing, Triz. I have a lot of enemies, but most of them I don't really care that much about. Like the humans, they hate me. Whatever. Mind flayers, they hate me. Sure, makes sense. Now apparently there's beholders. They're gonna hate me no matter what.
There's beholders.
That's what we're thinking. But there's one enemy whose extreme negative opinion I do care about, which is people who are supposed to be on my side. And I think that Rommel could be on our side, and he was hired by Jenny, who is this flump who is supposed to be on our side. In fact, if you look at the bottom of my toilet paper list here, you'll see another idea I had, which was psionically bug Jenny's office to see what's influencing her. If it is beholders, maybe there's some kind of magic or some kind of technology that they're using to make her a traitorous little monster. But
Okay. I like what you're thinking. Look, I'm gonna have to leave it to you to like get to like do the bits where you work out where she lives and like get the thing situated. But I can probably scrounge you up like a, I don't know. What if we could set up like some kind of like video and audio feed, very, very tiny little transmitter. We could like magically have it come back to a point that you've got access to. Record it to some kind of device, like basically magic VCR for you.
Mm-hmm. So I believe in trying to be the player that I would want in my D&D campaign if I was DM. So I'm trying to signal very strongly that while, Wendy is invested in the main plot and stuff, her like personal journey is actually less about killing her enemies and more about trying to get the people on our side, or ostensibly on our side, like Rommel and Jenny, to stop undermining us. And she's like, if it'll help, I think, to figure out what's influencing Jenny, she would like that.
Yeah, I think that is a great idea, and I think that Trizzy is more than happy to rummage you up a some form of very small, very hard to notice transmitter. Maybe it has some degree of self-shielding, so it won't immediately show up on a detect magic sweep or anything. And sort of passes it over to you and goes, well, it seems like we've not got a lot of friends right now, and like truth be told, doesn't seem like we're going to be getting more people on our side on our cause right now anyway. So like, yeah, I'm on board for anything that might get more people helping out. So go for it. If anyone asks, I didn't give you this. I have no idea where it came from. I also definitely wasn't working on modifications to the engine when you came down as well. So.
Yeah, as you say that, like a piece of piping teleports into the corridor we're in and just goes clattering down the hall. And Wendy's like, none of my business.
Exactly. I'll keep quiet that you have that. You keep quiet that I gave you that, and that I do stuff I'm not meant to down here. Give me your ice pick. I'll have it ready in like 25 minutes. I'll have it ready for very fast stabbing.
Wow, 25 minutes. The service around here. Communism is great.
Right. When I don't have to worry about my basic needs, I have so much time for rocket-powered icicle spears.
I try to pat the holographic goblin on the head. Is that anything?
Gronk the holographic goblin will just look back to you and go, thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Is it sentient? Is it a person?
I will give you the short version. A person had a hologram that they'd programmed to be essentially like, you're so amazing, I love you so much, to one of the crew, and Trizzy, the goblin, may have stolen it and reprogrammed it to be her holographic boyfriend. As far as we know, not sentient, just programmed to be a good boyfriend.
It's like a horny chatbot.
Yeah, it's a horny chatbot.
I get a lot of those ads on fucking TikTok.
Yeah,
exactly.
Look. For you lot that haven't met Trizzy, she just does her own thing down in the depths of the ship, and she now has someone to like mop her brow while she's working out how to make dimension door engines.
Yep. So Wendy's gonna collect her rocket-powered ice pick when it's ready, and yeah, she's setting up for future downtimes that she wants to try to figure out what Jenny's whole deal is and hopefully get her to renounce her ways if she is genuine, or to break the influence over her if she's being controlled or manipulated. Also, just keeping an eye out for Rommel. I genuinely don't know if or when he'll show up, and I want to be ready because I've my mental image of him is getting cooler every day.
Oh yeah, no, you keep writing notes in like that shared document we have every time you have a cool thought. I will let every cool thought you have be canon.
Okay.
Wendy's gonna go back to her room, close the door behind her, and he's standing behind like a fucking lamppost. Doesn't notice.
You know what? Roll me a perception. Just to be on the lookout. Just to see if you spot anything.
20.
20? You are very confident Rommel is not hiding anywhere behind a lampshade around here.
Okay. Yeah.
You can say that with good confidence.
He's on a ship somewhere else talking to his goblin, being like, you'll understand, this Wendy, her abilities are so cool, I need something to stop her.
Yeah, I need some technology so that I can stand behind like a lampshade and won't be noticed.
I do love this. We're doing the exact opposite things on opposite sides of this war.
Yeah.
What a starstruck rival we have.
That goblin also has a holographic. Let's reverse it. It's a holographic girlfriend.
All right.
I think for now we will leave that there, but who else would like to tell me about their level up?
Skitch exploded, so I guess I'm up then. All right, so I have hit level 10. First thing to note is that normally artificers get a ability to attune more magic items at level 10. Didn't really seem like that was going to come up in this sort of campaign. So after a little bit of discussion, we've swapped it out for one more active infusion at a time. That means I've got a couple as well. I've got a couple more things going on right now because at level 10, a bunch of stuff activates. My AC went up by 1, so I'm at 23 now.
Yeah.
My attack and damage went up by 1 as well. So that puts me at a plus 11 to hit and plus 7 to damage on a 2d10. Then I have 3 active infusions that are new to mention, which would be gauntlets of ogre power, so I'm no longer walking at 20 feet per round. I'm not slow as shit and weirdly weak anymore. And in turn, I have also added a helmet of alertness, so I have advantage to initiative rolls, can no longer be surprised. Beaufort added this specifically because he was slow to react in the last mission, and then a guy's head exploded.
Yeah, next time when a guy's head explodes, you'll be like, yeah, I saw that coming.
And he has one other infusion active now from this new level up, and that is he is creating currently. Well, I guess we can jump into like media res of him actually making these infusions right now if you want. It probably makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, so you're doing this, and you're not alone while you're working on a little bit of self-augmenting.
Yeah, I think Beaufort's probably in like his room doing this, and it's his room. I think is probably not like a standard like crew room because he's just kind of too big for it, and his like sort of mechanical and biological needs as a result required him to be set up in like a cargo bay that's been retrofitted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's in this like modified cargo bay with his younger sister Bridget. And if you've ever seen a car factory where they have deconstructed like the dashboard of a car, but it still functionally works, like just mounted on a wall, that's what Beaufort's body looks like right now. His chest cavity has been kind of pried open. His cybernetic organs are splayed out on a table before him, and his robotic arm is completely detached and mounted on like one of those like robotic assembly arms that he is remotely controlling as he is installing new bits and muscle weaves into his system.
I think that Bridget isn't even like the least bit caught off guard by this. I think that she's seen you do this so many times it has become commonplace. This is just a natural part of things. So she's just very casually there, like, yeah, is it, let me know if you need anything passed over, but it seems like you got this.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to restart my heart when this is done.
Okay, do I do that instantly, or, like, do I need to leave you to be, like, is this, like, when you need to turn the router off for, like, 10 seconds before you turn it back on, or it doesn't power down properly?
You could do it pretty instantly. See, normally I do this, and he points to the big red button that he's hooked up to everything in the center of the room, and suspended above it is just a cinder block tied to a rope, and it's currently tied off to a pipe. Normally I let my heart restart, and that shuts me down for a second, making me drop the cinder block onto the red button, which is then routed into the ship's power system that'll restart everything there. But like you could just kind of either hit the button, I guess, or drop the cinder block. Personally, I would drop the cinder block.
I mean, I will do my best to hit the button and hope that while I'm hitting the button, the cinder block doesn't fall at that same time I've decided to hit the button. Can I move the button like a foot to the left just for the moment so it's not under the cinder block?
Unfortunately, actually, if you move the button, it will not work. It has to be directly under the cinder block. Look, I haven't determined why this is the case, but I do know it does not work.
Look, I know how tech can be sometimes. It has its finicky little things, and sometimes you've just got to recognize that it does a thing that makes no sense, but that's what it does.
Mm-hmm. All right, can you hand me my intestines?
Yeah, yep, there you go. Oh, this will never stop feeling weird. There you go, there they are.
And he's doing that thing where you like coil a hose around your elbow and arm. And he's like, God, I can never get this in here right. They never fit just correct afterwards.
Oh gosh, as someone who's wrapped cable in the studio, like anyone wrapping something that way just gives me anxiety because like that's just going to cause internal tension and break something over time.
So while you're doing this, Bridget will bring up. I hear they can't contact home for now, like just for a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds like we got some sort of communication outage. Frankly, I wouldn't pay it too much mind. I think if there was something worse, we'd probably have at least an idea of what's going on by now. I don't think they'd be able to keep that quiet.
Yeah, I don't know. People on the ship have been talking.
What have they been saying?
Some of them worry this isn't as short term as they're saying. Like we might just be out here now.
What they think we're gonna be out here forever?
I mean I don't know forever, but there's a few of them that are getting in for the long haul.
I think Beaufort will finish coiling he'll place his intestines to the side for a moment and sort of scoot as best he can as a one-armed man with all of his organs outside of his body at the moment to face her and go, look, I'll be honest, I don't know a whole much more than you do at the moment, but as long as I'm here, I'm going to make sure we get through this. So don't you worry your little head about it.
Okay. If you're sure.
Look, I've been through some weird stuff back at home with the family. I've been through some tough times. I've been out in the frontier before. Communications go down sometimes. Sometimes you get stuck out on an asteroid for 6 months, waiting for a freighter to come by so you can hijack it and get home.
I mean, I really hope that doesn't happen to us, but I get the gist of what you're going for. And I mean, we came out here to do a job, and I guess, like, you know, whether we could go home or not doesn't change day to day what we came here to do and what we should be doing.
Yeah, Beaufort will nod his head at that and go, yeah, look, if you're worried, whenever I get worried or frustrated with something, I find a project to work on. Like this. I'm real annoyed at how hard it is to put my intestines back into my body right now. So I think the next time I'm going to do this, I'm going to automate that system. Find something that's bothering you. Work on it.
I mean, if you want me to, like, take one of those things that's used for spooling up extension cords and, like, see if we can make that, but for your intestines, like, that doesn't seem like it would be a hard job. We just need, like, a cylindrical spool.
Well, I'm using this as an example, but yes, if you could do that, that would be helpful.
I will have a look.
I'm now just thinking of like this just leading into an infomercial. It's like, is this you? Do your guts just like get unruly and impossible to wind up? You know, hi, I'm Drilly Bitchel right here.
Bridget's already coming up with new ideas, being like, oh no, oh, save on the spool. We get that tech where, like, you give the wire a tug and then the whole thing, like, self-retracts. We can get it so you just, like, give the intestines just, like, one quick tug at one end and they all just spool back inside.
Well, you know what? Most organs are connected like that. Why not just set them all up like that then?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why not just set them all up like that?
It's like a meat belt. You just pull it out to a little secure place, then tug it again. It just goes back where it was, you know?
Bridget writes down a meat belt.
Ooh, wait, I know. Wi-Fi enabled electromagnets. With each one that locks into place, it then turns on the magnets for the other organs next to it to draw them into place.
I like the idea. I do worry about your organs magnetically getting stuck to your arm.
This is a problem, yes.
Yes. I mean, look, we can A/B test it, see what works in the field tests.
I think as they're putting his organs back into his body at this point, he goes, Bridget, I think we got a problem here. I'm counting 3 lungs.
Let me look. Okay, this one is labeled spare on the back.
Okay, never mind. That's
is that meant to be in the drawer?
Yeah, it's meant to be in the drawer.
Never have too many lungs.
You don't keep your spare lung in the trunk? I mean, that's where I would keep it, you know?
Look, if you're inhaling as many chemicals as I am on a daily basis, you're going to need a spare.
It was like, what's your problem? I got a flat lung here. I see you try to patch this lung yourself. Sorry, that's out of warranty. We're not going to service that lung, sir.
No, that's what happened. To keep his medical insurance, Beaufort had to still be considered asthmatic, so he's built it into all of his lungs, but they keep burning out.
Look, I'm sure you could have built some kind of fail-safe check-in that turns on the asthma when they're checking and then turns it back off or something.
Yeah, but you gotta remember to do that then, and sometimes you might turn it on by accident. It's a whole thing.
I mean, that is fair. You've never been great at remembering. It's going to be quite hard to explain if the asthma goes away and then comes back.
Yeah, the same thing with my color blindness. I had to build it into every optic I had.
So do you have anything else that you want to say with Bridget, or is this where you want to move on to the other thing you have in mind?
I think we can move on to the other thing, or there is one other thing that Beaufort had been working on. I think in the background to this conversation, he had another project for a member of his team, actually, for Wendy, who's already getting upgrades. It sounds like.
I mean, I just lowered my attack bonus to +2 at level 10, so upgrade is relative.
In the background, there were 2 more robotic arms automated, knitting an incredibly tiny cloak.
Oh.
And I think at this point, it finishes production with a little ding, and a cloak of elven kind has been completed in its development.
While you wear this cloak with its hood up, wisdom checks made to see you have a disadvantage, and you have advantage on dexterity stealth checks made to hide.
Yep.
I think this definitely has the it's called elven kind, but I'm imagining it with the skin texture of an color changing octopus.
See, I have Beaufort's explanation of how it would work. You can take whichever you prefer in this scenario. Either your skin-changing octopus or Beaufort's idea, which is he has created the quantum cloak. It is not actually making you better at hiding. It is it's like a read-only portal into a mirrored universe where you're just not there, and it displays whatever is not there.
Whoa.
Right. It displays a reality in which it displays the reality in which you didn't go that way. So it's real-time gaslighting. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm not gonna have to deal with this while I'm DMing, which is fine. So, Laura, are you okay? Are you okay with making canon a reality bending cloak?
Look, I am happy for you to make canon that's what you've attempted to create, and it seems to be functioning how you intended it to. I'm not going to say whether you successfully did what you attempted to, but the result is achieved.
Watch Wendy put on the cloak, and then a light year away, someone just sees Wendy appear out of nowhere for a moment.
Okay, I think, you know what? Correction. That is how it works, but I'm going to add a little flavor. Just because Wendy isn't wherever Wendy is in that other universe doesn't mean someone or something isn't there. And I'm not necessarily going to, use that narratively to fuck you over or anything, but I just like the flavor thought of you do have to be a little bit careful that, like, it doesn't just look like someone's foot is where Wendy is.
See, that's why it's only advantage, because maybe sometimes there's a guy there.
Exactly. It is not a guarantee you won't be seen. Sometimes there'll just be a person that isn't Wendy in that space in the other universe.
Yeah, I think of all the things we're going to do in our downtimes today, the one that's going to have the longest reverberations and the most serious repercussions is this canon already existing piece of clothing you're giving me, because my mind is already whirring with the possibilities.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I only have to do this one season. It's you, Austin, that, like, this is your problem ongoing. Like, I could just bail after this season and be like, I'd just leave you with that problem.
Look, I've had, like, 6 different quantum-based jokes and goofs in the chamber already, just ready to drop. You already said, it's Beaupoke, that people are just throwing things out there as quickly as possible and trying to move on for them. I need to get in on that.
Oh my god.
So yeah, you have a cloak that makes you harder to see. That's what you have now.
So either Beaufort can deliver that himself, or maybe Bridget can, while he goes on to his real task of the day.
I was going to say, having Bridget deliver it might be a good excuse for Beaufort to get Bridget out the room.
Yeah, let's go with that then.
So yeah, Bridget will take the cloak and go, "Oh, thank you. I'll go find Wendy, and I'll let you know later what she thinks of it."
He gives a big thumbs up and waves as she leaves the room, and then waits for a moment and locks the door behind her.
Yeah, so what do you do once this room is locked and you have the room to yourself?
Okay. First thing Beaufort does is make sure that all of the soundproofing he's put in the room for his various projects to not disturb the crew are in place. And then he goes over to a big, like, what is it? Like tool chest, like one of those racks of tools that each thing you can, like, pull out from it and has, this is all your screwdrivers, this is all your pliers, etc. And he hits a hidden button in, like, the name that's written on it, and just, like, depresses it, and it bisects down the middle and splits apart. To reveal, like, some of his like private equipment that he keeps hidden from view. And from the bottom of this chest, he pulls out a decapitated human head that is suspended in a jar filled with green goo.
This head looks up at you and goes, "What do you want this time?"
"Oh, we're gonna have some fun today. I got a new project I need to be done."
Look, I'm going to be honest, I'm just glad to be out of the drawer. God, it's boring in there. Please tell me that whatever you have in mind is going to be less boring than being in a dark drawer for another. How long has it been? I have no sense of time. It feels like it's been like a year or 2 or 3.
Who's keeping count? You should be. But no, I think you're going to find this quite unpleasant.
Oh, goody, 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 goody.
Okay, so Beaufort will put the head on his desk right now, and he's going to connect, like, a bunch of diagnostic equipment to it. And what he's going to be doing is something I don't know if this was put into the end of the last episode or not. As we discussed, one of the issues the Mind Flayers are currently having getting people to adopt the metal bodies is the belief that there needs to be, like, suffering and pain to be, like, a true ceramorphosis, to, like, be worthy of it. And what Beaufort thought is, well, if you can get a psionic imprint of what that's like, and then maybe randomize it or customize it, you can bill it as bespoke personal cruelty.
Yeah, if you could imbue a metal body with enough genuine suffering to, maybe that'd get some of the religious types being like, yes, this is how it is meant to be.
Mm-hmm. And what Beaufort is going to do is hook up essentially the brain to his systems, and he's going to start tweaking settings in this decapitated head's brain that he's hooked up to. The head doesn't have like the top of its head visible anymore. It's just been, the skull has been completely peeled off, and it's just like a glass dome with the exposed brain and a bunch of wires sticking out of it for ease of access and fucking with it. And he is going to start adjusting settings on it as he's recording, like the thing's sense of time, its feeling of pain, heat, its ability to comprehend memory, that sort of thing. And he's just going to run it through a gamut of as many fucked up things as he can think of and just get a full list of the data.
Yeah, I want to get a medicine check from you.
Okay, I'm going to cast guidance on myself and then do this check.
Yeah.
I think this perfectly fits your character's extremely specific worldview. I am just thinking, though, like, if you gave the fascists everything they want, do you think they would suddenly become reasonable? Like, they obviously would just demand other stuff, you know?
Like, oh man, this is good, but you know what? This I want some better boutique handmade torture here.
So that's a 22. And no, I think Buford's aware that there's people that are never going to change, but if you can sell it to enough of them, then at the very least it makes some of the job a little bit easier.
Yeah. I feel like it's somewhat analogous to, like, there are some people with some kind of fucked up views about childbirth, where they're like, no, you have to feel the pain of childbirth because religious belief that the suffering is part of your journey to it. And as fucked up as those beliefs are, I can see there being some counterpart people in illithid culture who would go, no, the pain is part of the process, the suffering is part of the process. And that if you can emulate that I feel like that would win some people over. Now, you've rolled a 22.
Yep.
So yeah, you can get all the data you want out of, I'm not going to spend time acting out a severed man's head, reliving some very fucked up, tortured memories being tweaked on loop. But you have basically carte blanche to do what you will with this brain.
Okay. So Beaufort is doing this completely dispassionately. He has no reaction to the horrors he's inflicting on this man. If he gets called down on it, he has things he can say. But at the moment, he does not care. What he is concerned with at the moment is making this a useful tool. And I think the way he would do this is that he's going to take all of these recordings and he's going to then systematically break down, this is what spikes when you're feeling sadness. This is what it is when it's anger, fear, etc. And he is then going to feed that into a program and a UI that allows you to essentially, like, almost like making AI prompts, I guess, adjust how you want this ratio mixed.
Adjust the weighting of the words you've used in your prompt.
Yeah. And then spits out a resulting set of brainwaves for that.
Yeah, I don't remember if I said this into a microphone before. Maybe I just said it to you off air. But in the cyberpunk universe, this is an entire industry. They're the extreme brain dances where people, like artists, make cruel brain stuff that you can experience.
Yeah, in this case, for the illithids, this is borderline like, okay, well, listen. Okay, we're gonna give you the sweet sensation, but without the actual stuff. So it's like vaping in that respect. Brain vaping.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
He's not going to make this like a super comprehensive thing, I guess. He's going to set up the basis for it and then probably just email it to Pavroth and be like, hey, I made this. If you want to add more to the system, here's what you do. Go wild.
Yeah, I think that, like, through most of this process, this severed head is trying its best to keep composed. And I think this is not the first time you've done stuff like this. Like, this severed head has been in your possession for a while and has had some time to get used to the fact that this is life. But I think it's when he looks over and sees you preparing to send the data elsewhere that he finally chimes in. And he goes, what are you doing with my brain?
Beaufort taps a knuckle against the glass, probably to irritate it a little bit more, and goes, "Well, I'm finally putting your stupid ass to good use."
Yeah, you don't call everything you've done prior to today putting it to good use.
No, that was extracting my pound of flesh. Now, you might actually do some good for once in your miserable life.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. It's nice to know that it's being used for something other than you just, I'm going to assume you're getting off on it usually, and I'm glad that it's doing more than that today.
I think Beaufort gets a little offended at getting off on it. When the head says, "You're getting off on it," and goes, "Are you stupid? That's not why I'm doing this."
No, I'm not stupid, but got a rise out of you for a second.
I think he gives a sigh and goes, "I thought we talked about this," and he is going to go back and adjust its perception of time again, and kick it up to a second being a month, and then put him in the bottom of his drawer.
Do I need to add a content warning here for torture? I think I do, huh?
I do think so, yes.
I can kick it. I can don't tone it down a notch if you want.
Yeah, it's like, well, even though if you put down the in the episode description, Beaufort gets head, I don't think that will soften it any more than that.
God damn you!
What? Like, I can't be the only one who thought of that as an obvious gag in this situation.
You've broken the tension beautifully. There we go. Everything's fine. You've put this head back in the drawer. And with that, I think it's time to sort of pan away from the scene over to our final level up. Tell us what Max is, what they got for a level up and what they're up to today.
So, Max is now a level 10 Warlock, which comes with very few interesting grand changes. Some extra hit points, extra hit die, a new cantrip, which I've added prestidigitation into the list. I cannot pronounce words, but as a
Prestidigitation.
That's right. Prestidigitation, which will be renamed at some point because, of course.
Yeah.
The main feature that Max gets as a level 10 Hexblade Warlock, though, is formerly called Armor of Hexes, which means that if Max targets somebody with Hexblade Curse and then they attack Max, Max can just use a reaction, roll a d6, and on a 4 or higher, the attack misses regardless of its roll. So it's one of the few things that can cancel a crit. So that's always fun. If Max picks a target, the target has a 50% chance of never hitting Max, pretty much. In terms of what Max is doing during their downtime, this is when the ending music from Gundam Zeta's English release, Green No No Shonen, starts playing in the background, because what I picture, at least in part, is that Max is spending some of their downtime hanging out with Cammy and, just whatever feels fun for the two of them, whether it's just hanging out in their rooms or just going about the ship and, I don't know, getting ice cream and the like.
Can I say that when we've been saying Cammy, I've always thought it was spelled like the Street Fighter character, but seeing Laura's notes, it's spelled like the Japanese word for God.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. I'm just going with Cammy just because it rolls off the tongue a little bit, but it could be Kami either. I mean, just
in my head it had been Cammy, and it's Kami. I believe is the spelling.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have a particular activity in mind, or did you want Cammy to suggest one?
Max is happy for Cammy to suggest an activity. Max is still kind of, to say, slightly glum about how the mission panned out, and I believe they still have not changed out from the kimono and such that they have been wearing since they went out on mission.
Okay, I think Cammy's suggestion is going to be that the two of you attempt to do... I don't know if this is a term that Americans have. There's a term in the UK called pub crawl.
Okay, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm thinking the equivalent of a pub crawl, but for all of the many ice cream machines around the ship.
Love it.
You're going from one to another, trying to see how many you can manage before it's like, no, I cannot do any more ice cream stops.
Well, it's called the cone gauntlet, I believe is what we call it,
Yeah.
right? We were just doing the cone gauntlet and just seeing how many flavors of vanilla you can put up with before you just give up.
Exactly. Let's start with a Constitution roll just to see how initially the cone gauntlet goes.
That's at 18. Max is doing great.
Let's see how Cammy is doing. 19. You're both starting off strong. You know, you're like, how bad could a bunch of ice cream stations in a row be? No holding back. Like you're even going back for seconds at some of the early machines. So yeah, Cammy sort of turns to you and goes like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be no trouble. Like how many ice cream machines could there even be on one ship? Like I can't imagine it's that many."
I have a feeling that the way they built this ship, it's going to be as many as we think they could have, and then probably 2 extra just for redundancy's sake. At least that's how Beaufort would probably make it if he was designing the ship.
I'm consistently surprised by like rooms that like I wouldn't think would have one because like, you know, first time you go to the med bay, it's a little surprising that there's an ice cream machine in the med bay, but like not too surprising. But then it's like you realize there's one in one of the shower cubicles, just like one shower cubicle. That got me.
Oh gosh, yeah, I saw that one too, and I was like, this way too cold to be like shampoo. It's like, oh wait, no, and then that took a bunch of extra time to clean up. So yeah.
Yeah. Like I've never dared to test whether the shower head actually produces water in that one or not. Like I don't want to know. I'm not ready to know.
Well, I mean, there may be probably a bit too much ice cream, but all things considered, it's still pretty nice being out here with you, Cammy. So
it's good to be out as well. I'm sorry. It seems like everything was a bit not great while you were gone.
Yeah, I mean, things were going fine enough, but then things got heated. The protesters tried to get in. They kind of borderline ran me over.
Yeah.
And then the situation with the colonel happened.
Well, if it helps to know, I kind of screwed up here as well. I may or may not have made a chip that allowed a general purpose cleaning robot be able to be turned into like a very effective room defense murder bot.
Is it defending the butter tray?
No, it's not, but I could make another one to do that. I did promise I wouldn't make another one, but I could make another one to do that. I mean, like, this time would be fine. Like, I just have to not trust other people's motives. Like, their motives are, like, probably fine, though.
I will say that Max is definitely having a bit of a giggle and a laugh over the exchange there, and their mood is clearly lightened while chatting over this and having yet more ice cream.
Okay, question for you. Do you think there's going to be enough flavors across these machines for us to not have to double up at any point? Like, is there that many flavors? Because some of them have different flavors to others, but like not a full rotated menu. It's very confusing.
Yeah, so like, yeah, they have vanilla, then they got Fuscany vanilla, and I mean, I'm pretty sure they're slightly different, but I don't think it's enough to really constitute 2 distinct options on the menu. But
I mean, look, I still think they're 2 different labels for the same thing. I can't taste the difference. I can't work it out. Like, I've had them back to back, and there's just no flavor difference.
Just you wait. There's going to be somebody who, if you said that to them, they'll get really, really offended and be like, of course there's a difference.
Yeah, I know that, but also, like, look, I'm pretty convinced that at some point, if I go ask Trizzy down in the basement to, like, go follow the pipes, I bet they're coming out of one big tub. That's all I'm saying. Like, I would put money on that.
What if they all come out of the Elder Brains brine pool?
You just think they taste of different things.
I was just thinking that like bride pool flavored ice cream is a very cursed idea, so we're just gonna move on from that one.
Look, I'm gonna Google right now, but I guarantee like pickle brine ice cream exists.
I was thinking the same thing. Let's see here.
You ever see that picture of the like the Mountain Dew cake? It's probably like that.
Yeah, no, there are some pickle ice cream recipes showing up.
I see pickle ice cream with crunchy peanut butter topping.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, that doesn't sound like the worst idea in the world. Like, I'm not going to go out and make it, but...
But brine cream, here we go. But Max will then just sigh softly and think back to the mission and say, you know, there's something I've been thinking about with what happened down on the planet.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was trying to keep things orderly and diplomatic as well as I could, but then the colonel from the Sol system just got a certain tone going on in their voice, and I think it reminded me of Mom a bit too much, and I kind of lashed out a little bit during it.
Oh, very, very stern military type. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's gonna be rough.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, the mission didn't pan out as like anyone hoped, but given some of the information we've gotten, it could have gone way worse. So there's that at least.
I'm guessing there's still no word from her?
No. I mean, I didn't really bother checking before heading out here with you, but I haven't heard anything, and, well, given current communication situations, we're probably not going to hear anything from Sol for a while, so...
Yeah, well... Look, If nothing else, I feel like it's probably not the worst thing for you to have some time to, you know, be doing your own thing, and I'll be here while we're here.
Yeah, and I don't know. I still think I'm trying to get used to being out on these away missions. Wendy and Beaufort are really, I guess the best way to say it is they're very competent at what they do, and I'm still trying to feel things out, but it's something.
Yeah, well, like, I think your skills are definitely different, but I think it's important to know what you're good at, because, look, from what you've said about it all, you were diplomatic. You were taking time to try and approach things equitably and to try and find careful solutions. And, you know, they got stuff done, you know, for better or worse. They were decisive, but, you know, it worked out for them today. It doesn't mean that the way they went ahead was inherently better than your approach.
Well, thanks for the encouragement, Cammy. By the way, I think, let's see what's next on the list. There's this one called, Crawberry. Oh, that's going to be an interesting taste.
Oh, that's the one that only exists up in the weird crawl space above the workout space. It's you gotta climb up inside the roof tiles for that one. Yeah.
And there's always this weird, loud aerobic music playing in the space for some reason, so I guess it's part of the aesthetic, but, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this point, I've just come to associate the music and the flavor together. Let's get one more constitution roll to see whether you are still doing well at... What was it called? Cone crawl?
The cone gauntlet, or cone crawl.
Gauntlet, yes.
Yeah, oh no, Max rolls a 4.
Oh no. Let's see how Cammy's doing. 12. Definitely, definitely getting a little bit full, but not as ill as Max, who I think is starting to look a little queasy.
And also getting probably some bad brain freeze after all the ice cream.
Okay. Well, you go have a lie down, go have a rest. Let that pass by for a bit.
Yeah, thanks. And if you need help taking care of the overly defensive construct you've made, let me know and I can see if we can troubleshoot it together, okay?
Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, I'll catch you later, Cammy Hell. See you later on.
Catch you later.
So Max, while cradling their head, makes their way back to their quarters. Upon opening the door, there's sort of two general details about their personal quarters I'll make. Number one is that the majority of the room is just kind of a mess. There's just like clothes strewn about. Things are not really well ordered and everything else, with the exception of what is effectively a little hydroponic flower garden in one corner of the room, which has a variety of little lilies and other flowers kind of growing in there. And it's the only space in the room that is being well kept. As Max makes their way to their bed to just sort of sprawl out and try to sleep off the throbbing headache they're dealing with.
And as you go to sleep, we're going to need to describe... I suppose this is like a mental landscape. This is the first time we've described this on air. What happens when you go to sleep? And does this always happen when you go to sleep, or is this just today this is happening?
I would say that every time Max goes to sleep, as of, however long ago they've been in contact with Formith, they basically find themselves just sort of in what can be best described as sort of like an ethereal, I would say it was like a meeting room or just like some sort of just room with like chairs and other things around. They can kind of see themselves in the space dressed as if they're out on mission. And then they also can see other figures kind of in a sort of like an etheric, ghostly sort of apparition within the space. I believe currently there's two others in the space with Max, if I'm not mistaken, at the moment.
This is your ghostly conference room in your brain. You're lucid dreaming a conference room.
Right. And in there, I would assume would be a Flumph, Evan, and the other figure would be a Minotaur, whose name is Noah, the last entity that Max decrypted out. Unless you want to have a different direction for that.
No, I think this works. If so, we've got the Flumph and the Minotaur currently in here. And this is a space that you use for training with your Formith forms. Is this correct?
Yeah, I almost like to think if it has kind of the same aesthetic as, like the end of time in Chrono Trigger, that sort of kind of weird displaced aesthetic there. And at the same time, and I swear for anyone listening, this is stuff that I had been planning on before I even like read up or even looked into Fire Emblem Engage. Okay, so the idea of like a disconnected training realm, we're working with these aspirations of older heroes entrapped in items. Like, this is the idea I've had long ago before even that happened. So, but yeah, I would say that the way I would describe it is that in this initial room that Max finds themselves in are any forms that they have immediate access to for decrypting from Formith. And as Max kind of shows up in this space, they look around and particularly glance over at the Minotaur, who Jenny noted was expressing fear when they were decrypted on mission.
Yeah.
I don't know if Max has anything to say at the moment, but it's just sort of a little curious before. I guess the best way to describe it is when it comes to the training, is there an indication to Max perhaps that someone else wants to meet them effectively?
Yeah, I think the way that this works is that usually this room is just the forms that you have decrypted in the past are there, and they are present, and you can interact with them, and they never really make an effort to be the first to start interacting, but if you start a conversation or try and start something with them, they'll start. Occasionally you notice a presence more than seeing something. You can feel that there is something pressing up against reality in the space. And that is usually your cue that another one of these forms is ready.
Well, upon sensing that, Max will move towards where that presence is coming from to see. They move quietly, mostly because there's still a little bit of nursing the headache kind of energy going on, but also it's just sort of they've been in thought for a while about what's been going on and don't know quite how to broach the topic with those that are already here. So effectively, Max is going to go on and try to decrypt new forms within Formith.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts about visually what it looks like when you decrypt a new form?
I would like to think that it's sort of like there's almost like a door that is just open on one side of the room. Max passes through the threshold, and then all of a sudden it's like Metal Gear Solid VR training sort of aesthetic, where the layout of the room just kind of depends on who happens to be there. And with stepping in, they can see like someone in the room, kind of in a loose, not quite fully tangible form, but a suggestion that someone is there for them to try to reach out and decrypt.
So the first one that you start trying to decrypt starts solidifying and taking shape and form, and appears as this almost like a snake, but with a very humanoid upper region, very strong and muscular. The shape of a Yuan-Ti begins to form, with a almost cobra-like frill to the top of their body, sort of where the shoulders meet the head. And it takes a few seconds, but they start to solidify a little. And you are now face to face with a Yuan-Ti.
Will you please tell me what your name is?
Oh, of course. My name is Alma Tyran.
All right, Alma. My name is Max, and I'm here to help decrypt you and draw you out from Formith.
Oh, I suppose yes. Suppose that is what we're doing. I suppose yes.
Yeah. So the general idea that I have is that for each form that Max is trying to decrypt, it requires effectively proving that they are competent, strong, or otherwise able to draw that individual out from the void that is Formith itself. So it's almost like various things where it's like it's not trying to fight this decryption until Max kills them, but it's just sort of a testing of their capabilities. So I would so the aesthetics of the exchange with Alma, I have a couple of ideas of how this would play out visually, unless you want a role to be involved with this.
If you wanna talk through some ideas, I'll throw you a role that seems appropriate for what you want to go for.
I think the main thing with Alma's sort of gimmick is that their weapon that they wield out is a pair of shields. So instead of having like a sword and board, it's just two shields. And in efforts to attack them directly in melee, there is effectively a veil of ice forming across the shields as the spell Armor of Agathis activates around Alma, and Max's efforts to attack head-on directly are met with just ice damage being flung back at them, forcing them to retreat away and resort to range and evasion tactics in order to avoid taking on too much pain from the exchange.
I think, let's flavor this as sleight of hand. If you're trying to, at a distance, be sort of accurate and precise with you're getting around these shields.
That's only an 8 on the roll there.
Okay, I think with an 8, you are not necessarily making progress at like dealing damage to this target, but you have at least demonstrated that you've backed off and not tried to confront head on, which I think is like, you haven't failed this situation, but you also are gonna need to do something else to sort of get this over the edge.
I think the idea here is that Max will tap the hexing function of Formith on Alma as a target, and then once they're positioned a certain way, exploit one of their Eldritch invocations called Relentless Hex, which basically means that as a bonus action, they can teleport 30 feet to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of the target. So effectively, instead of trying to attack Alma head-on where the shields are, trying to teleport behind them to get a strike from an exposed point.
Wonderful. I don't think I need a roll out of you for this. I think that is enough to demonstrate you have found a way around these defenses, and this is enough for you to decrypt this form.
Once it happens, there's almost like a scattering of like, it's almost like little voxel elements from where Alma was that float around in the sky and then flow into the conference room where Max just was to reform. But I have a feeling that once that happens, there's the sense that Max is not quite done yet here.
Yep, there is still the sense that there is one more presence ready to come through.
I have a really fun way to open this up for you.
Okay.
Max is sort of standing there trying to sense where the form is, where the target is, and then like the fur on the back of their neck bristles up. They turn around and try to swing at an entity. However, when doing so, there's just an eruption of flames that knocks them back as the next form makes its presence known.
Yes, so as this happens, you notice swimming as if in water, but in the air, in this space, the form of a merfolk start to take form.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of very armored for a merfolk. A lot more sort of battle ready than you are perhaps used to seeing a lot of merfolk.
Mm-hmm. Max is like, wait, those flames, I recognize it. Who are you?
Name's Shardine.
I see. Well, okay. So that's a nice little trick you got there. Is that going to happen every time I try to hit you?
I don't know, try and hit me, find out. Go on. How bad could it be?
Max will take the bait and try to hit Shardine.
Oh yeah, no, it happens again.
I'm going to drop a picture for those in chat to show a depiction of this character in play. So at this point, Max is kind of in another sort of barrier here. In this case, the tricky bit is of dealing with the fact that now they have to contend with a ranged counterattack as Hellish Rebuke just triggers off every time Max tries to make an attack. So now let me double check one thing real quick here.
Yeah. So yes, to describe the merfolk in a little more detail as you're setting up there, imagine sort of almost samurai-esque armor, but this merfolk is wearing a mask that looks basically like the chin of a Gundam. Is the best way I can describe the armored look. It's samurai armor, like snappy, sort of like fancy dress trousers and suspenders, and the bottom half of a Gundam face for a mask.
Yeah, I would almost picture the encounter just being Shardine just approaching Max slowly, the space kind of shifting to become a larger and larger field before Max finally, I think, realizes the way to counter this ability, which is very simple. They just go farther away and attack from the long range, the outer range of their pistol, which is less accurate, but when the attacks land, it can't trigger the counter attack from Shar.
Wonderful. I think again that is a solid enough idea that I'm not going to make you roll for that. I'm going to let you just as this occurs, the light starts sort of reforming into the conference room, and it seems like you have decrypted another of Formith's forms.
Mm-hmm. Max has successfully avoided Shar's counterattack and then proceeds to go back to the main hub room where everyone is located.
Boo! Boo! Boo this man.
Why are you booing?
It's Char's counterattack, the movie. Come on.
I mean, look, none of you have yet picked up on Shardine.
I did. I mean, I'm letting you have your scene. I'm not trying to do Mystery Science Theater on your downtime.
This is completely outside of my realm of knowledge.
Okay, so Max, once seeing the others there, goes over to the Minotaur, Noah, and looks up to her before asking, one of the folks back on planet mentioned that you were giving off the energy of being afraid.
Well, I don't feel like I feel afraid.
I'm just wondering what that could be all about then.
I'm here, and sometimes I'm other places. And before I was here, I remember what I was, and I remember wielding Formith, and now there's a bit of a gap, and now I'm here, and that is just what it is.
I guess what I can do for the time being is do what I can to help decrypt as many of you as I can.
Hopefully that tells you something. I wish I had more answers for you than I was out in the world and then I was here. I mean, as if you've got any questions, I can. It all gets a bit fuzzy once I'm here, but I can answer anything from a lot of before.
Was this similar? And Max kind of gestures to the room. When you had Formith, was this all kind of the same for you too?
I never thought much of what was going on in here. I don't know if I ever told you why I took the weapon. I was just trying to impress a girl. I wanted to be better at logging, and the thing told me that I'd be cool and powerful, and I wasn't so sure about that. And then there was some people were going to pave over the forest, and he told me I was chosen, and I assumed that's what it chose me for, and it gave me the strength I needed to fight them off and to protect the forest. And there were definitely forms, and it wanted me to believe I had it for a purpose.
Yeah, I could say that's pretty much the same for me. Like, the sense that there's something that I could be or should be doing that's sort of maybe for some greater good or just some larger goal, but I just don't know what it is. So...
Evangelion from the other side of the room will, in a very rare move, chime in without having been directly asked a question.
Evan's great. Love him.
I took it as a self-defense. It was a last resort. I was never a fighter, but there were a lot of us that were in danger, and it promised me that I lacked fighting skill. I lacked the will to fight, but it promised me it could compensate. It promised it could be the strength and the will that I didn't have, but that I needed. I don't think it ever told me I was having it for a purpose or that I was chosen. It told me that it could be what I needed it to be.
Well, this whole thing is a bit of a mystery for two, I guess, but for the time being, it's giving me more ability to, well, to fight and to maybe protect those that I care about. But in the meantime, I guess I just need to keep on practicing and understand more about Formith and all of you to do my best with it.
I think as you're saying that, as is often the way when you're in here, without you even noticing, it's faded away before you realize, and you are starting to wake up again.
What if this dream space has nothing to do with Formith and it's just because you ate too much ice cream?
Well, you know, that could track potentially there. I'm just happy to get the boo from the audience there, Austin. That warms me in a particular way.
This is my fan theory I'm going to be very insistent about, is that all of the heroes that you're psychically connected to all ate too much ice cream at some point during their life, and that's has connected you all across the ages.
Is this much like the beholders we mentioned earlier could bring things into reality by dreaming them real good? If you just have enough ice cream, you start dreaming new Formith forms into existence.
The ice cream was beholders all along.
I will beholders.
Don't ruin the season, Austin.
Beholder Robbins, got it. You know. I will say, like, if I wanted to be really try to a bit like, and over at the hydroponic flower bed, two new flowers are there for no reason. Two different flowers than what's there before. I don't know if we got to go that route though, but
Well, we can discuss that. I suppose we can work that out another time.
I've got a dream question for you folks. Was this just me, or did anyone else experience it? For about 16 straight years, if I ever realized I was in a dream and it admitted it out loud in the dream, every other, I'm going to refer to them as NPCs in this scenario because it's the easiest way to explain it, would immediately turn on me and try to eat me alive until I woke up.
Sounds like you had too much ice cream.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like, the ice cream was getting revenge on you in there.
It was constant.
They don't appreciate self-awareness.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I was a bad lucid dreamer. I had I couldn't fly. I could just kind of glide, or I would sort of tread water in the air.
You had limited control, but your awareness locked you into the bad path.
Well, it caused it. It's specifically acknowledging it made my brain attack me, and I don't know what that says about me.
I feel like that's your brain going, no, this is not conscious time, stop it.
Well, in response, I would have to start, like, throwing myself off of high areas in my dreams to shock myself out of it. It was very strange. I had a weird childhood.
the way I would describe it is that your brain's just like, whoa, listen, I just made this dream for you. You're just gonna throw back at me and realize that it's a dream? No dessert for you.
Why was it always cannibalism, though?
I mean, what else is the brain gonna eat?
That's true.
So you all get your various activities done with your time off, and it's not too long before you get called up to the deck to speak with Captain Slack DeMille. You've all been called up. There is another mission ready to go. You've received the alert.
Hey, Cap, I love you. Sorry, I know I promised I would stop saying that. How are you?
Hey, love you too. How are you?
I'm better now.
Is that the standard greeting on this ship? Hello, I love you.
No,
It's at the very least the standard between the captain and Wendy.
Wendy is going through elder brain withdrawals.
I think the captain's like understands and is just like, yeah, don't worry. It gets like this. It's all good.
It's like calling the kindergarten teacher mom.
Yeah.
Exactly. I also love that Wendy has the tick of like repeating the person's name shortened, but because Beaufort's name is Beaufort, she had to go with Gub.
Uh-huh. Some people are more challenging to do this than others.
And I think Max is just Max or what?
I think it did Max or Maxi Max.
Maxi Max is either one is good. That's all good for them.
So as you all get up to the bridge, the captain sort of turns around in the tank towards you and goes,
I've got another mission for you. This one is, well, I don't know how relevant it is to our little crew here, but here's how I see it. For the time being, it is important that we get on well with everyone around us in this area of space, and that we get some goodwill going and some allies around here. It seems like that would be beneficial. We're getting a distress signal from a space station.
All right, Cap, I'll shoot it down. Here we go.
No. Well,
The last thing we thought was a distress signal. That space station blew up.
Yeah. Well, look. Use your discretion. Maybe that's what I would like it if you went and checked first. Ideally, that would be ideal. There is an automated message playing on loop that is stating that the station is a science vessel. And that if the message is playing, it means the crew have been incapacitated and to approach with caution. I mean, the fact that they have given us the heads up, be cautious as you approach, is, not usually the kind of thing you do if you're trying to lure someone into a trap, in my experience. You don't say, be on your guard, be ready. You go, oh, we're all defenseless. Come save us, all helpless types.
Unless that's what they want you to think.
I mean, look, it could be a double bluff. I'm not a scientist here, but if nothing else, I feel like you might be interested because I've not told you where this thing is. It's gonna be a hell of a view out the window. This space station is situated just outside the gravitational area of a black hole. It is quite the sight, I imagine.
We get there and look out the window and it's just black.
Mm-hmm.
Well, stuff. Yeah, there's going to be a section that's just black, but around it there's going to be stuff circling that isn't yet, in the infinite black void of nothing. You see the nothing by reference to the fact there's stuff around the nothing.
They just got the first photos of a black hole, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like a weird red donut. If you haven't seen these pictures, it actually looks like something.
Yeah. The deal with black holes, as I understand it from having done some research, is that while you cannot see the black hole, like stuff that isn't quite yet inside the black hole but is like heading that way, that's still visible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, hey, here's a bunch of stuff and then there's nothing. Just right, a very weird abstract nothing in there. Which is, that you can see that you can't see anything by reference.
Someone call Barry. We've got an exploratory mission for him.
If we were able to get... Look, if we were in a position where we could go back to Sol and get more crew if we needed them, sure. Sounds like a laugh.
See, I have a theory. Barry is the densest person I have ever met.
He might be a mute.
Look, you may be right, and if and when we arrange a way to get back to Sol so we can recrew the ship if needed, sure, we'll test it out. Great idea. For now, I am not throwing any crew members, even Barry, into a black hole unnecessarily. I really do need as many crew as I can have, just for now.
You know, I saw Barry walking through a detect thoughts checkpoint once. Nothing. Didn't even light up.
I mean, look, that does not surprise me, but again, he is an additional... Look,
Frankly, I'm starting to get concerned.
Look, let's say there is a mission coming up, like, you know, a week or two from now, in which, you know, heaven forbid, we need to make a sacrifice of someone, we throw someone out the airlock to distract an enemy or something. We don't want to not have Barry around, should we need to.
Beaufort gets struck by a moment of inspiration, and he just walks over to the wall and like takes out a Sharpie and starts like making schematics. And he's labeled it Psionic Weapon B1, and he's going to try to weaponize Barry's brain into a targeted attack against other telepathic beings.
It's the Boltzmann brain gambit. Got it. But it's the Barry's brain gambit.
Look, I love the idea. You've got a mission to go on now, but like write it down somewhere and try and remember that for next time you've got some downtime, I suppose.
Yeah, it's on the wall right there.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah. Look, I've not got much else to give you. There's a distress signal. They're warning you to be cautious.
So the space station's at the edge of a black hole and it's gone quiet. So I imagine, they probably just got sucked too hard, right?
Well, generally you get quite loud when that happens.
I do not think this is a case of suck. I do not think this is a case of suck too hard. I think if they'd been sucked too hard, they would be gone. There is no surviving getting sucked too hard.
Says you.
Oh, trust me, I know these things. Oh, I know.